Today we're doing a different type of comparison than what you've typically seen. We've got two Martin D-18s here, and we'll call this expensive versus expensiver. D-18 Modern Deluxe versus authentic. Great guitars. Stay tuned. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you want to support the channel, visit our spring store for cool swag. Check out our podcast, our Fretboard Confessional, and buy stuff like one of these guitars, for instance. So this is cool. We're holding two very expensive Martin guitars.
Yeah. Pretty much cream of the crop for a D-18.
Yeah.
As good as it gets for something brand new,
This is a fun comparison. I hope you guys enjoy it. So Cooper's holding a new Modern Deluxe D-18.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this one, it's new to us. New to us. This is actually a consignment from a good friend of ours named Damien. Thanks for sending this in. He got something pretty cool. Mm-hmm. He got that NAMM custom with the cutaway on the dreadnought.
Well, I meant new from the fact of like new designed.
Yeah,
I should say that.
But
But it is like new.
But we're glad because it is like new. It's basically mint condition. Modern Deluxe D-18. We dig the Modern Deluxe stuff here, and most of the time for Alamo Music, this is the highest end Martin guitar that we get. We have not really been able to get a hold of,
unless we get custom shop stuff.
Yeah. But I'm talking for something that's, it's not a standard, but something that's offered, on the order sheet. Yeah. We have not been able to get a hold of these, but now we do carry these. So
this is it's the 37, right?
1937
D-18 Authentic, which if you're familiar, it basically follows through exacting specifications to be as original to the design and the build practices of those guitars built pre-1940s in the Martin factory. What's interesting about this comparison too is that there used to be a vintage line within the Martin kind of standard line of guitars. Not the standard, boy, it's confusing, isn't it? But the general lineup. And they discontinued that kind of vintage collection and introduced the Modern Deluxe, which took some of the most kind of bleeding edge modern technology and building practices and coupled that with old world design and aesthetic from Martin. Yeah. That's the whole idea behind the Modern Deluxe. But this is decidedly old school, and I love it. It's such a cool guitar. And so it's a great way of comparing what Martin's doing today to try to eke out the most playability and voice and tone of a D-18 versus what Martin did a long time ago by craftsmen that were like old school, old world, building stuff. It's crazy when you see Martin's original kind of factory floor and talk about how they literally just moved chunks of wood around in the rafters throughout the year, and that's how they weathered and dried them out and stuff.
That's how it's done
in PA. It's just like, it's freezing. It's it's all covered in snow. Let's move that stack of Brazilian rosewood over to that rafter, please. That's just, there's something romantic and cool about that kind of stuff.
It worked,
and that's the era that this came from. Yeah. The other cool thing there is when you look at the workbenches, there's stuff, hand scrawled on the windows of dates, and it's just of builds and materials and all sorts of stuff. And that's the era that this came from. Yeah,
so there are a few different authentics that are offered. There's the 37s and some 39s. This is one of the 37s, and it is the VTS, because there's a non-VTS and there's also an aged. I think this is kind of a perfect right in the middle kind of thing, because it's not relict, as some might say. It's intents and purposes looks like a brand new guitar, but it is a VTS top, which is a nice feature.
It is, and we'll go through each of the specs here, but one of the things that I noticed right away, I was telling Cooper, is the finish on it. It's they call it vintage gloss, which is basically kind of like a knockdown semi-gloss. Increasingly, I prefer this to the super high gloss that we typically see on brand new guitars. I love the look of it, but I love the feel of it.
The feel is great, and it also feels as though it's going to wear a little differently. This is a full-on gloss guitar.
Right.
Some about that, it's got the semi-gloss kind of vintage vibe, but it also feels like, since it's not aged, you can age it yourself pretty easily in an attractive way, I'm really happy that we got this guitar, kind of peeling the curtain back a little bit. They're not easy to get a hold of.
No.
And luckily, Jim, our guy over at Martin, was like, if y'all are interested in diving into some authentics, I got this one that I can allocate to you. And it was just like no-brainer for both of us that we had to get it. And it's the first authentic that I've played. It's pretty fantastic.
Huge fan.
It's like a pound.
It's so light. Okay, so before we continue to be enamored by this guitar, let's talk about kind of this as a reference point for modern build versus old school.
So D-18 Modern Deluxe, this is a VTS top, as you'll find on any Modern Deluxe guitars, but it is Sitka Spruce VTS, vintage tone system, torrefied, thermo-aged, however you want to refer to it. That's Martin's term, VTS Adirondack bracing on the inside, forward shifted, X bracing, so as good as it gets there,
And you can't see all that under the hood, but I pointed out to Cooper before we started filming, this is a ridiculously good Sitka spruce top. The medullary lines, or what we typically call silking on the top of this guitar, is insane.
Yeah, it's as good as it gets.
Really, really nice top.
Most of the time, people just think of Sitka spruce as, it's classic, and you don't think of it as like, oh, it's super pretty. But this is really, really pretty. So
it's one of those tops you can also visually look at and go, that's going to sound really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So VTS Sitka on the top, Adirondack VTS, which is, we've talked about, I think it was Bob Taylor that you said he'll take Adirondack bracing over now,
Yeah, he said, he basically said that if you use Adirondack bracing, you're kind of getting a lot of the benefits of Adirondack regardless of the top that the bracing goes on.
Yeah.
Just because of its springiness and stuff. So.
Since it's a D-18, you got mahogany back and sides because that's how it goes. But it's not a brand new guitar, but it's still degassing like a brand new guitar would.
It's just nitro. It is what it is. If you own nitro guitars and polyurethane guitars, and you wonder why your nitro guitars always seem dustier, it's because they're nitro guitars.
Yeah. But the neck on this one, they call it the vintage taper, which you'll find on Modern Deluxe guitars. It's a really comfortable, pretty thin neck, and I'm noting this because when we get to this one, it'll be a large comparison. But you got gold Waverleys on here, the nice abalone inlaid Martin script logo. Also worth pointing out that the Modern Deluxe does have the liquid metal bridge pins and the carbon fiber bridge plate, which, the entire idea there is minimizing vibration loss.
Right, and lightness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no weight that's robbing the vibration away. And
a nice thing that, I just like to mention, if you got a Martin guitar, any guitar, you can buy liquid metal bridge pins if you want to add in that as a little upgrade. I don't know why they put a red dot other than to just identify them as liquid metal, but they are nice bridge pins, and they, I guess, do what they're supposed to do.
Looking, they look titanium.
Yeah, so that's a big thing on the Modern Deluxes.
The other thing I like about these is how it's bound in wood. It's rosewood in this particular case. I really like that. I think mahogany and rosewood binding is kind of a classic look. So, just a beautiful guitar. You did mention the abalone script logo. That's one of my favorite things on the Modern Deluxe because I love that script logo from Martin. Yeah. And that just looks really classy. Yeah, it looks great, and the it's ebony fingerboard and bridge, and they're really nice. And gold fretwire. Look. Yeah, it's interesting. I remember when they first came out with that, I was like, it looks cool. It's great. So it's just a thing, That's how it's done. But authentic. I love this guitar. Okay, so the recipe is largely the same, right? We've got a mahogany body, choicest mahogany in this particular case. It's a VTS top, but it's Addy. It's Adirondack, which is really what Martin predominantly used at the time. I had someone ask me the other day, why did they stop using Adirondack? I said, well, because they basically built the Northeast with it. Yeah. All of the trees were gone. So, finally trees that were planted so long ago are maturing. Adirondack's available again, and so we can hear that sound that was so predominant for those builds. VTS, the bracing on this one is Adirondack. Also VTS. Adirondack, and forward shifted for the 37. I believe.
I'll need to double check on that. We'll get back after the demos, but
Hide glue construction, which some people go, doesn't matter. I think it does. And here's the thing. So you can use basically like a tight bond type glue. That's what most guitars are built with. Or you can use hide glue, which is what guitars used to be built with. Some builders and some manufacturers on high-end guitars use hide glue for some things, not other things. They'll use tight bond for other things, like putting on binding, for instance. I don't know this. I would wonder if Martin uses tight bond for the binding just because it's easier to work with.
yeah.
Hide glue, it's a protein animal-based glue. So this is not vegan. You actually have a pot sitting there, basically smelting, keeping that glue liquid and for your use. It can get everywhere. It's generally a mess. But the reason to utilize it, particularly in certain aspects of a build, is that unlike tight bond, which tends to dry almost rubbery,
Yeah.
you know, it forms a great seal, don't get me wrong. Great wood-to-wood connection. Tight bond's a good glue. But in comparison, hide glue dries in like a crystalline fashion, like glass. And so it's kind of like if you can imagine like thumping something that's maybe rubberized or whatnot versus thumping a piece of glass or ceramic, and what's going to convey that sound.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons to use hide glue. The reason in this particular case is because that's what they used.
Yeah, I know for sure at the dovetail of the neck joint and everything, they do use the hide
Yep.
glue. I'm not sure if it's
They
for the
probably
other
do
things.
all over the place, and something just tells me that that's probably a pain.
I bet it is. Yeah, because I've seen the videos of like the little pot of glue
just-
that's got to get hot.
They have this amalgam of glue around it, and it's starting to look like a bit of a molten beast sitting
It's
on top
cool.
of Luthier's work table.
Also, long saddle,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool with the authentic belly bridge. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just something. I mean, we saw it on some of the prototypes. That long saddle. I know it's an expensive upgrade in the custom shop.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. So here's what I'll tell you: long saddles are cool. They are very vintage spec. And if you ever want to buy a guitar that's like this and it has a long saddle, if you ever want to put a pickup in it, most people won't. Most people will buy this and not do that. Just know you're not going with an undersaddle pickup. That would be a complete pain to try to figure out with one of these. It can be done. I've seen it. Don't even bother. Just put like an under soundboard something or other on it. So.
But let's talk about the neck on that guy.
Let's talk about the neck. I like it. Okay, naysayers, but it's a chunky boy.
It's heavy duty for sure, because the taper and the carve. It's the 1937 authentic neck. It's very thick.
When men were men, and they had bigger hands or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they were making guitars for baseball players, I guess, because it's a bat.
It's great though. I mean,
It feels good.
yeah, I have no qualms. I'm not, neither of us are very tall. I don't have the biggest hands, but I can comfortably wrap my thumb around it, and it's comfortable. But here's the thing: some people would grab this and go, "That neck's too big," and shy away from it. That would be a mistake, because this guitar sounds so incredible. The playability on it is fantastic, and it really isn't uncomfortable when you're playing.
Yeah. So I did do the demos on this one, and I played this one first. It was a drastic change to go from that neck to this one. And I think there are a lot of tonal differences, but
Yeah.
let's take a listen. I gotta hear them.
All right, so there you have it in the demo. And now that we've switched guitars, yeah, I'm reminded this is a dramatically different neck profile. It's much thinner. You can feel that V. I would describe that as like a chunky D-shaped neck. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's that chunky D, you know.
I was trying to not go there. But, you know, they're both comfortable in the hand. I think that one is very nice. I actually would not shy away from that at all, but there's a dramatic difference. So
if I will just say, playing both of these, they both felt great. I felt a big upgrade in volume on this one. And I think that comes from a few different things. The top, for sure. But also, yeah, there's something about the weight of this guitar and everything. Maybe it's because it's so light. When you strum it, it just feels like the entire thing is exploding with sound. I'm going to go out on a limb and say if right now our boss told us take any guitar out of the store, it's a bonus, we'd fight over this one. Over it, yeah. This is my current #1 in the store right now. It's incredible guitar.
So Zach, listen, okay, I'm just going to put it out there right now, okay? Everyone can see this. Our boss, Zach, would love for a video on YouTube to go viral and get millions of views. And I'm thinking a throwdown between Chris and Cooper over a guitar would be entertaining. And then one of us would end up with that guitar. And the other one would be the loser. And you guys would love it. So what do you think?
I got big loser vibes over here.
Think you can convince him?
Yeah.
One of us is walking out with the guitar.
I mean, he's not doing anything right now. We go ask him. So I will say, I noticed because the first thing, you know, when you're playing guitar and you look down and you can see in the sound hole, you can see these cloth strips inside of there. And somebody out there probably knows more than us and can tell us what that's called, if there is a name for it. But the funny thing is, I was playing this guitar, and then in the next demo, which, stay tuned, get your notifications on because we got other videos coming out. I was playing a pre-war Martin, a real one, and it had the same thing in there. Yeah. So it was just a nice little interesting, obviously that is an authentic touch having to do with the bracing. Same thing is on this 1940 that we will also be reviewing today. This is a fantastic guitar, and any other day, if we had a D-18 standard or any other spruce mahogany dreadnought, I'd be like, man, this Modern Deluxe, this is my favorite guitar right now. This is probably the only thing out there that can top that guitar for me.
You get no argument from me whatsoever.
Yeah, but that being said, Modern Deluxe, really cool guitars and a little bit of a step up from standard series things. They've announced a whole new swath that we will be seeing later this year. We already got the new 0028, we're gonna get the 12 fret version, all that cool stuff. So Modern Deluxe is very worth taking a look at if you want the step up. But if you want the Mac Daddy, authentic for sure.
Yeah, so here's the big differences I noticed playing them. There's almost kind of like a difference in the bass that the Modern Deluxe has. I don't want to say that it has more bass. It might have less treble is really what it comes down to. It has less volume, you know. And what's crazy about this is already a lightly built resonant guitar. So to say that is lighter and more resonant is insane, but it is.
Yeah.
I mean, before you shot the demo, when I sat down and started playing that, the first thing I did was start basically playing flat pick runs as fast as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, you know, it's like you kind of psychoanalyze yourself as a guitar player. Like, why do I pick up a guitar and place things a certain way? It's because the guitar is so extremely playable. Like the playability on the neck, but also that the lightest touch and the guitar is exploding. And so you can move with just rapid ease and have this huge explosion of sound effortlessly. It's effortless.
Yeah.
It's such a cool guitar.
So I was watching another video, because that's what I do when I'm not shooting videos. I'm over on the sales floor watching
or we're reading guitar specs or guitar news or certified nerds.
I heard it put an interesting way that I think you'll agree with. We often talk about Spruce Rosewood being the perfect singer-songwriter, vocalist because of the EQing that you get there. I watched another video from some friends of ours. I'm not going to mention names, but they're in Bozeman, Montana, in their music villa, which I love watching their videos because
Paul's the nicest guy in the industry.
I'm sure everybody that watches ours probably watches theirs too.
Yes.
And you might have
seen it.
But
if you see something you like on their channel, buy it from us.
Yeah, we have it too. But they were talking about the versatility and the importance of having a good spruce mahogany dreadnought being the ideal recording guitar, because a lot of times with rosewood, it's even going to be better to accommodate a voice, but you're going to need to do something in the EQing and the post-production of the guitar. Often with a mahogany dreadnought, you're just good to go. It's perfect for recording and cutting through and being what you need a acoustic
Playing with a
to
band,
be.
same thing.
Yeah.
You see a lot of bluegrass groups, a lot of the times, the guy's got a mahogany guitar because it's kind of cutting through that mix. You're battling a banjo player and a mandolin player.
Yeah.
And a fiddle player who's also singing, and you're just like over there, you know?
Yeah, it's like, why do Strat players often have a mid boost on their pedal board? It's for the same reason. These are going to cut through. They're an amazing lead instrument. I mean, this is like the dream bluegrass guitar, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, I can't say enough good about both of these. I'm super happy to have Authentics now available at our store. And also very excited to see other Modern Deluxes that come in.
Yeah, huge fan of both. Just enamored with that guitar. We're gonna stop this video, go talk to our boss, and set up a cage match, I think. So
yeah,
stay tuned for that. No, but in all seriousness, because he needs us for other things that probably won't happen. If you're interested in this 1937 Martin D Authentic or this Modern Deluxe with the skinnier neck and amazing playability, you should go to a particular website, and that website is...
It's going to be alamomusic.com, all right? It's not up yet. It's got the under construction guy from the... No, I'm just kidding.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's... You remember that from like years ago when you'd be like, I want to go to this store's website, and it's just a construction guy in a little thing. But it is constantly being updated with all the new stuff that we got. Luckily, Martins are coming in all the time now, and they're also flying out very fast. I don't know how long we're going to have this one. We didn't even mention price, but you can find it on both of these on our website.
Expensive and more expensive.
Yeah, and that one's very expensive, and this one's almost double. So it's worthwhile to, if you can, put your hands on both. Because
you want a premium guitar, you pay premium prices. I justified it long ago. I can justify anything, pretty much. But I justified long ago, I might never have a Ferrari or Porsche or, some exotic sports car, but I can have a really nice guitar.
That's true.
So,
Justify war, Chris.
Another video.
Another video. Check out the podcast, because, it's called Justifying War with Chris. Yeah.
No, but seriously, they're expensive guitars, but, that people spend more than that on computers or their lease of their BMW they have for 2 years or something, and that's a lifetime instrument. Both of these are lifetime instruments.
Yeah.
So go to the website and buy them. Almost sound like Christopher Walken. Buy them, whatever. Anyways, and keep watching our video. If you're new to the channel, you want to subscribe, turn on notifications, and keep coming back for more. At the end of the day, the best guitar in the world is this, actually, right now, or the one that you're playing. So keep playing. We'll see you next time.